What's going on, guys? We're back at it on the dirt bike, and this time it's all about brakes. I've got the parts back from the Cerakoter, and I want to show them to you here. It's basically the calipers and master cylinders. So we have the front and rear calipers that have been Cerakoted. I might roll in a picture here. And it's a full rebuild, so there's nothing in here. There's no pistons, there's no seals, there's nothing. So we have to start from scratch and build the brakes. So there's the rear, or the front, here's the rear, front master cylinder, rear master cylinder, and then a bracket and a cap for the master cylinder. So those are the components we got Cerakoted. I also have brake lines and some hoses and clamps that go along with it, but the first thing we have to do is get the internals of the master cylinders and the calipers squared away. As with all of our projects, we're going to lay out the parts in the right order, get everything paired up with what it belongs to, and then begin assembly. Before we can do any of that, though, we have to simplify what we're working with and just make a decision on which piece we're going to start on first. I'd like to do the calipers back to back. I'll probably start with this caliper here. Okay, so we've got caliper, piston, and seals. There's two different seals in the bag. Those have to soak in brake fluid before we get going here. We have a clip, heat insulator, the brake pads themselves, a rear brake rebuild kit from Yamaha, which comes with a whole bunch of hardware, probably doubled up on the seals, some crush washers, some rubber grommets and things. All of that needs to get kind of put together, coalesced in and around this, the main body of the caliper. So I've never built brakes before. I've bled brakes. So once we get the whole thing assembled, putting the fluid in, I'll know what I'm doing. But right now, I have no idea. Following the book. Okay, I figured out the first thing I have to do is put these studs onto the caliper and this is like a caliper holding bracket. So that's what we're gonna do right now. Alright, so this goes into here. This is the smaller of the two studs. And then the manual treats this whole assembly, the caliper and the bracket, as one piece. At no point does the manual describe how to disassemble and reassemble these two components. So I'm operating off of memory and an exploded diagram here. So this stud goes into the caliper itself. Put some Loctite on it. And then goes into the caliper like this. And then it's got an Allen key hole. Don't want to get too crazy with tightening this steel into aluminum situation, but do want it to be snug, so right, there's that. And then the two of them go together like this with rubber boots in between. I think this one here, get some silicone grease. Alright, so we have to soak the piston and the seals in brake fluid. So I have the small cup here. Maybe. Might be too loud. And I've got the 2 seals and the piston. And they're going in the cup. Let's get some brake fluid. .4 brake fluid. Okay, while this soaks, I'm gonna put that up there. Remember, brake fluid is corrosive, so you don't want to knock it over. Basically, will eat anything you put it on. We have some stuff that we can do. There's this little clip, and this is actually goes with the brake pads. So we can actually get the clip set up. I just have no clue. I think the clip goes up here on this portion. I just don't remember. I don't remember!
One eternity later.
I just realized this is wrong. This actually goes, this little grommet actually goes in here. So we're gonna move it over to here. There we go. That's how it's supposed to go. In there like that. Alright. That's what reading the book will do for you. I found this clip that goes on this face here. So it's you can't get a new one of these. They don't sell them. So we just cleaned up the old one. Throw a little bit. Drop it on the floor. After we started putting grease on it, so it'll have little gravel bits on it. That'll be great. And then put that, and I think all this, the whole purpose of this is just to protect that aluminum from wearing away, because it's a steel plate that fits onto that. Like that. Okay, so you want, Brittany's working over here. Over here. Yeah, there. And I'm working over here, and we're gonna kind of work together on this. So there's that. You can lubricate the inside of this.
Weird it out.
Yeah. You can wipe the excess on the cloth. Just try not to rub it all over the Cerakoted portion.
Okay, that's pretty good.
All right. So now we need the thicker of the 2 seals, which is this one here. And
am I putting it in?
If you want to. Do you want me to?
I want you to, because you're very specific about not getting things on things.
Okay, well I'm just gonna squeeze it thin so that it's not super wide, and I'm gonna bring it in like this, and it's gonna drip, and that's okay. Now I'm gonna get all of my fingers that have brake fluid on them cleaned off. And then I'm gonna try and tilt it
Spring, I can feel it.
to the side to get it one edge inside of there, and then walk that around inside. So that's what we did there. And it's like that all the way around. And then the next one, do you want to do it?
No.
Same thing, I'm gonna grab it here, pinch it thin.
Yeah.
This one's bent a little, so it's going to be a little more challenging, and I don't want to get it in my eye.
Yeah.
So we probably should be wearing safety glasses. And I want to put it down into, and then wipe off my fingers. Try and keep the brake fluid contained. And then I'm just going to be fishing in there with my finger. All I'm going to be doing is trying to get it to come up and seat on one side. And the first one went in really nicely. Okay, the battery died in the middle of that, but we got the seal in. So we're going to see what that looks like there. There you go, all the way around. That was the easy part with the little fingers fishing around in there. The hard part's probably going to be putting this piston. That's a lot of brake fluid. I'm gonna move this away so I don't bump into it.
Open side.
Oh man.
Of course it won't be easy.
No. Might get a rag involved here. We've got extra brake fluid going in places. And it says don't try to shove it straight, shove it and turn it. But I have no idea how that's possible.
Like,
It's
slippery.
you can't turn it, it's not possible to turn. Just try the man method. Yeah, I got it pretty far there. I don't know how far I'm supposed to be able to get that.
Don't touch your eyeball. That'd be bad. What does it say? Does it seat?
It's tough to... There we go.
It seats.
And now we have a piston inside of a caliper. And next step is to put in the springs, install the caliper housing into the caliper support bracket, and tighten the bolts. So the next step is supposedly to put these two pieces together like this and like this.
That's super easy.
Like that, but now we have this bracket in the way of being able to put in the pads. So I'm not gonna tighten anything down until we are totally decided. Actually, what I'd like to do is put this pad retainer clip in. Actually, this is not the retainer clip, this is a spring. Pad spring. And I think it goes in like this. In fact, that's the only way it could go in. That way it doesn't make any sense. So we're going to put that down into the caliper, and it says it should be held on by its own tension.
Is there a picture?
Makes sense to me. And where's the pick?
Right in front of your eyeballs.
Pick is going to be useful to us because it will help us straighten it out. It should be like that in there. Nice and centered, left and right. We've got brake pads here, rear brake pads. We don't want to get grease or brake fluid on, and we have this this heat resistant shield, heat dissipator deal. And I think we do need to put these two together in order to make this work. So we're going to do this for the third time, where we slam these two together. So we've got that. And then these fit in there, but boy, I don't remember which way they go. Are these the wrong brake pads? Brake pad front. Well, yeah, they're the wrong ones. Because they're the front brake pads.
Paddling.
Let's try these ones. That match the shape of this.
12 hours later.
I can't open the damn packaging.
May I help you?
Yeah, help. I can't get it. Oh, yeah, thank you so much. Grabbing these by their edges. Dropping them, and then grabbing them.
Oh yeah, much tinier.
Much more like they fit. Alright, and it doesn't look like they're different. Alright. This brake pad goes on the inside like this. Sits in there just like that. And then, actually, you can see better than I can from where you're at. And then this goes on the outside. Like this. And then there's some bolts. And they come through from the other side. They won't go all the way through if everything is not lined up perfectly. To include depressing the spring. I wonder if it'd be easier to do one pad at a time here. Keeping in mind that I'm figuring this out as I go. Alright, so there's one pad and one bolt. Let's get the other bolt so you can see it's coming through in there. Well, now you can't see anything. In there, it's coming through right in there. Let's get the other bolt set up. Whoa, that one really came through. Too far. And then this thing, it's white, so it's so clean looking. Comes in like this. Just like that, and then again we have to depress the spring to make sure everybody lines up. I don't know if that went. Not quite. We got an alignment issue with all the different players here. And now we need an Allen key that can fit this. So I'm pressing in the brake pad with my thumb while I look through the hole to see if it's in alignment. Ooh, how do you do that? And it's not quite. You can see that this is out of alignment a little bit. So as we get closer, I'm going to remedy that. Now the other side, same thing, same pad, just from the other bolt on that pad. Right there, looking through the hole. This is not quite in alignment, so we're going to reach down into the hole with a pin. We're going to move it just slightly out. See how it's crooked. Come on. Move out of the way, you. Oh, not that far. Look how far it came out. Alright, so something like that is what we're after. And now we can just start to tighten that bolt. And we're not going to snug it up. It says to go finger tight. I'm just trying to make sure the calipers are in there. So, or not the calipers, the pads. I just want to make sure the pads are in the caliper. That's all I'm trying to do. All that blue Loctite. One of them went in further than the other one. It's odd. So anyway, that's where we're at with the brake assembly.
How do you know it's right? It stops your bike.
Yeah, you don't know it's right until you...
Because look at how wide this is compared to how narrow this is.
All that's gonna get straightened out once we get the disc in there, and
Oh.
it's all kind of loose and held in there by pressure and tension from a spring. And so we're just gonna tighten it down really quickly. Feels like a lot of tightening.
You know what that means.
There we go. All right, so there's the rear brake caliper assembly ready to go. Next, what we're gonna do is tackle the other half of this equation, the rear master cylinder. Here's a whole bunch of rear brake master cylinder shit. And then I have 2 master cylinder rebuild kits. And I don't know which is the front and which is the rear. Ah! And they're different numbers. I dropped it on the ground. Probably broken, need to get a new one now. Oh, and here's the master cylinder. So all this crap is going into here.
Stupid.
Jeez. Tell me how you really feel. All this stuff, including a rear master cylinder rebuild kit from Yamaha. So I kind of have double here because this one offered more, so I ended up buying it from Yamaha. And then the whole piston master cylinder situation. Anxiety. Okay, so I'm gonna give you some parts and then read to you, unlike normally you're reading to me, and we'll go through it together. You're going to be putting together the rear master cylinder.
I don't even know what that does.
It's basically the pump.
Didn't need an explanation.
So, so it's the pump that puts pressure on the hydraulic fluid, which ultimately causes the brake pads to squeeze together.
Causes pressure. Got it.
It's the pump. It's a pump.
Got it.
It's the heart part.
Sure.
Lint-free cloth.
We don't have any of those.
Do you want to get a different cloth for this area?
Here have a linty cloth that pretends to be lint-free.
Okay, here is the main body of the piston. That's what we'll call it until they tell me otherwise. Check the piston assembly, broken, distorted, or collapsed piston return spring, worn, cracked, damaged, or swollen, primary, blah, 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 accidentally worn or damaged push rod cover.
It's new. Got it.
And the spring goes on to that like that.
With a skitty side?
But we're not going to put that on. That's not the next step yet. There's these 2 little cupped guys that live on the... Here's this goes later.
Oh dear God, you're starting to do things.
This goes later. 2 little cupped guys that go onto the body of this. Notice how they have different diameters. This is smaller than that. See the size of the holes? So this one lives here, this one lives there. And they go counterintuitively. So they're flared, right? They're tapered. They go like this. And this one goes the same direction, like that. Before installing the new piston cups, soak them in brake fluid for approximately 15 minutes, which will soften them and ease installation. Here's what the original one looks like.
Terribly disgusting.
Okay, now we don't have to have someone holding it up. Before I tighten anything down, I think it's time for this to go over the motorcycle. It slides onto that thing.
No, it doesn't. You're lying to me.
It goes on from the front. You had the right idea.
Well, that's not how this works, because it's this wide. Doesn't matter, because this is not going to work, so you need to take this off.
Why isn't that gonna work?
Can you bring it my way?
Yeah, I can give you all the slack you want, but
see,
it's made for it like that.
Like I want to push it down, but I'm afraid I'm gonna like do something with this.
Yeah. If it's like a millimeter off, you can push it, but if it's like where you're gonna like crush things mechanically,
yeah, it's way off.
Dang.
Like not even close.
This needs to go up into here like this. I'm wickedly confused by why this is not the way you would expect it to be. Alright, so we've learned that something is going on with this end of the brake line, and the banjo that they gave me, which is a straight inline banjo, isn't going to work. They need to give me something with like a 45-degree tilt so I can clear this portion of the swing arm. So instead, we're just going to focus on putting the brake pedal and the master cylinder on the frame, which should be a little bit of an easier task, he said with hesitation. Can you make sure that one's just a couple. Not yet. Just a little closer. It's a sticker. That's like, I'm trying to get the full frame off. I'm trying to pull it down. All right, let's recap where we are. The rear brake line doesn't fit. The banjo bolt they supplied with the kit for my bike isn't the right orientation. I'm not even sure that the line itself has the right fitting on the end. It fits into the master cylinder fine, and it looks like it's long enough. We've put the brake pedal on. We've got the rear caliper set up. We're about to transition to the front end because I can't really go any further with the rear end. I think what I'm going to do is put the rear caliper onto the rear axle, put the rear wheel back on, and then we're going to transition over to the front end until I can get a hold of Galfer and figure out what is going on with this rear brake line. Okay, now we're on to the front master cylinder and front caliper. Starting with the front caliper. This one's a little more complicated. 2 pistons, same idea. So we're gonna run through it pretty quick here, hopefully with the intent of actually getting it on the motorcycle without encountering any major issues, unlike what we did with the rear. Okay, now that we've got the caliper all set up, we have to go put it on the bike. Over to the motorcycle. Front wheel, meet front caliper. Slip this over the disc. Maybe. Oh. Oh no, I had it. Please. There we go. I'm going to put this bolt in through and start to thread it all and then screw it all up. That bolt doesn't reach. You drunk? This one, same thing. Now, front brake master cylinder. Okay, master cylinder piston installed. Back over to the bench. And now we get to start on the brake lever assembly. Okay, I'm gonna try to do this without being in the way. But this is the front brake line. And the questions we might have are crush washer. How do you crush washer? And this, I think, is just an adapter that goes into the master cylinder like that. And then I think I can tighten that down. And crush the crush washer, of course. Now, this goes on, and I don't think this gets any gaskets, because I don't think it's designed to thread all the way. Yeah, see, it doesn't thread all the way. So you end up with something like that on our front brake line. I might be able to just fish it through. So I don't have to undo it. I'm wondering if there's any kind of front number plate. That I need to worry about. It goes underneath this plate here. Cap to the reservoir. We're gonna hope that I tightened everything all the way and that it doesn't start spewing the second pressure is applied to it. And we're gonna cover just about everything we can. Alright, so we've covered up the bike and now we're gonna add some fluid to the reservoir up here. And we're going to attempt to not get it in our eyes or really anywhere besides in the reservoir. Oh God. I wish there was a way to get this thing moving that didn't involve splashing.
Well, a sticky plunger isn't really the way to go. Probably like a funnel.
This works. I can regulate it with my hand like this. And now, what I have to do with this, now that it has fluid in it, is...
Wow, that is like to the tipping point right there.
Yeah, I have to open the valve down here. I'm going to open this and you're going to tell me what we don't want is to drain all the fluid out. We want to stop it at like a quarter. Here, let's try this. Pump that 2 or 3 times. Keep going, pump it, hold it in.
A bigger bubble came out. Another bubble. But it's not going down at all.
Now pump it. No? Okay, let's try the vacuum method. See if I can draw it out. Okay, so I've got a Mighty Vac brake fluid pump here. And we're gonna try sucking out some of the fluid, drawing out some fluid through suction. Drawing any of the fluid.
You can see it's drawing out the air. I can see the air going down in the little chamber. Oh yeah, now it's going down. That's probably good right there.
Now we need to add more fluid. Oh, yeah, that worked.
Mm-hmm. It like didn't, and then it was gone.
Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more. And just let me know when
It's going down.
Cool.
One eternity later.
Oh, recording. Turn the valve off. Take the rag, put it underneath. Clean the nipple, clean the end of the vac. Put the Mighty Vac on the ground this time. And more fluid in the reservoir. So now we're gonna change our approach with the vacuum system. And she's gonna start pumping the master cylinder, the front brake master cylinder, holding it in, and then I'm gonna crack the valve and see if I can get fluid to come out based on pressure from the master cylinders. Now hold it in.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now see, we're getting fluid out of here. Let's zoom in with the camera so they can see what's actually happening. Okay, so she's gonna pump the brake lever. It's getting stiffer each time we do it. She's actually priming that master cylinder. She's getting fluid into it and getting some hydraulic pressure. Then she's gonna hold it in when she's ready.
You said a dozen times or so?
Yeah, you probably want to do 5 or 6. Hold it in. You don't have to like crush it. It's not like a strength thing. And it should release all this. And then I get a big bubble down here along with a bunch of fluid. And you need to keep an eye on the fluid amount that's coming down. It's going down. Now pump it another 5 times. Hold it in. And then I get to crack the valve. A whole bunch of fluid, maybe a big bubble. Yep, close it off again. Now we're going to set the fluid level in the reservoir just by
That's full right there.
Yep, that's about right there. It has a rubber diaphragm. Here you can put it in. Once you put it in, don't lift out just the diaphragm. Once you put it in, don't lift the diaphragm out.
This way.
Yep. Good. You can nestle that on top.
Which way do you want it to read? The rider?
The rider reads the... Screw number 1, screw number 2. I'm gonna spin this and you just pull the brake. Gently. Alright guys, let's talk about where we're at for a brief moment. I got off the phone with Galfer. The rear brake line that I was sent is the wrong part number. It has the wrong banjo bolt setup on it, obviously, which is why we can't attach it. So right now what I'm looking to do is just put on this reservoir. So reservoir with a clamp, rear master cylinder, and then I'm kind of I'll have to pause for a couple of days while we get it sorted out with Galfer. They're going to be sending me a new brake line, letting me exchange the old one. So that's where we're at right now. So I'll briefly show putting this on, and then we'll reconvene once Galfer has sent me the correct part number. We're just going to jump ahead to when the rear brake line comes in from Galfer right now. size is this thing? Okay, here's where we're at with this. I've got fluid in this cup up here.
Cup?
It's cup, yeah, this is the reservoir.
Oh, I see it. God, I couldn't see it.
And then it comes down the line, and there's a little bubble there which has been trapped.
Oh, it moved.
There's stuff going down the line.
Yep.
And then it's
Yep.
into the master cylinder.
Yep.
It's actually down the hose, and I've got it starting to come out here.
Okay, what do I need?
So
Pump the
you're
brake.
You're the brake pumper person.
Got it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't do that.
You need a rag or something? Too sharp?
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
Am I holding it?
Yeah. Oh, there's a little bit of fluid. Okay, now 10 more.
Holding.
Holding.
Mhm.
No bubbles. Okay, do one more. Okay. Okay. Oh, we're still getting bubbles.
Why does
Alright guys, that's going to be it for this one. We have rear brakes. There's still a lot more to go here. But thanks for watching this, and we'll catch you on the next one.